Chapter 32. "He's going into the supermarket," shouted Dylan as they all diverged onto his location.
"Dylan, you cut him off at the door and I will grab him," shouted Rhea, running from the right-hand side of the car park.
Oliver tried the supermarket's front door, but it didn't budge. Spotting the old telephone box, he made a run for it. Zach saw him change course and shouted, "He's going for the phone box!" Dylan was the first to arrive at the old red box and pulled on the door to open it. It was stuck fast, with the evil man inside it, a wide grin on his face. By the time Rhea arrived, Zach and Dylan were both pulling on the telephone box. "Ha! Now we've got you," said Zach, with a triumphant look on his face as the door opened and they grabbed him. Oliver looked at Rhea, smiling even more than before.
"How can you just stand there and grin?"
scowled Rhea. Zach had never seen this angry side of Rhea before, and it made him admire her even more. "I know what happens next," replied Oliver with a chuckle. Dylan looked him in the eye. "Okay, you've got my attention. What happens next?" Oliver opened his mouth to speak and paused, then closed it. "Didn't think so," said Dylan with a confident look in his eye. "We got you fair and square, and you're just trying to psych us all out. It will not work this time." "What I want to know is why," asked Zach. "Why do you want to blow up the dam, kill all those people, and blame it all on my mother? I'd like to know that too," said Dylan with an angry tone. The wind fell silent, and Oliver started to explain. "I was born here, you know, in Kistowich," started Oliver, "and I went to the school in New Haven." Zach, Dylan, and Rhea listened, wondering where this was going. "I was a child prodigy, the best in the school, and the teachers knew it. They said one day that I was going to be the best in my field." He looked downward at the floor. "Except for one teacher. Your father," he said as he looked at Zach.
"Hey, he's my father too," said Dylan.
"I came up with many brilliant ideas. Most of the tech you use were my inventions."
"That's a load of crap,"
said Rhea angrily.
"Those are my uncle's ideas."
"Those ideas are over 30 years old. Most of them I submitted as homework while I attended school," said Oliver. "I submitted them all in the 2 years I was doing my last exams, and all to your father," he said, looking at Zach. "But after your father made sure I failed and my assignments received low grades, I realized something else was happening. So one day I dropped my work onto your father's desk. After I'd been in his class, I waited outside at the tennis courts, overlooking the teacher's car park, and sure enough, a man arrived. It wasn't your dad, though. It was the head teacher, and he had a wallet full of papers. Wondering how I was going to follow him when he drove off, I was quite surprised when an army car pulled up next to his car. The man got out and chatted to the head teacher, and then gave him a large brown envelope with a thick wad of something inside. I can only assume it was cash, and in return he got my papers. Just to be sure, I repeated the same thing the following week, only this time I had a camera. When I confronted him, he just laughed, told me I was making it all up, and called me a liar. Worse still, when I approached your father, he flatly denied it and told me even if I did what you're accusing me of, who would believe me anyway? Shortly after that, my grades fell even more, and I was kicked out for poor work standards. I vowed one day I would clear my name and get back from your father what he stole from me. I later found out he had gambling problems, and it all finally made sense." "Wait, so you're saying that you gave the work to my dad, and the head sold it?"
"That's not our dad's fault he sold it," shouted Dylan.
"So you just thought you would kill everyone?" Zach asked.
"Well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. You are insane, exclaimed Zack. Insanity is defined as doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting different results. What I've done is change what I needed to do to get different results, and now I intend to kill you. Dylan looked at Oliver with a confused look on his face and asked, You and whose army? A voice behind them shouted, This army! They all turned around. Behind them was a vast crowd walking slowly into the car park. As they came closer, Dylan looked to see who they were. Zack squinted to get a good look too. Last chance. Give up, Zack Drummond, and let Oliver go. And you can both leave unharmed or prepare to fight, shouted a voice from the crowd. The crowd inched closer, and the hairs on Zack's neck prickled with fear. Never! Shouted Dylan. I left him once. I will not leave him again. The crowd drew in further, and Rhea noticed the same features in each crowd member. She turned to Oliver. You are crazy. Rhea? What's going on? Asked Zack. Look at the faces. She trembled. Zack squinted. What? That's not possible, exclaimed Dylan. They are all him.